once you're in there, there's typically not a membrane on that backside, and it'll just start deteriorating. Again, just missed caulking, rusted fasteners, little things, right? So we'll keep going through there. There was one roof on here, I think it's this one. Again, this is it's facing the drive-through in the rear. There's some drainage issues here. As you can see, that ponding, all that water sitting there, just like before. So a couple things like that. And on this one specifically, if we continue to go down all around the perimeter, which we call this flashing, anywhere the roof goes up is flashing, there's blisters. So what that means, what a blister would mean is that there's moisture within the system, and when it gets hot, it expands, it pushes up on the plies, and you get a bubble. That can pull apart the seams and let something, and if anyone steps on it, it can break, and then you have a major hole. So something you want to fix or address. This is kind of what we've seen, guys. Again, compared to what I see on a daily basis, this isn't all that bad. You could do minor repairs, or if you wanted to do something major because you're going to be in it long term, I gave you a bunch of options. So we can kind of go a little bit further. We'll fast forward through some of these. Really, oh, here we go. I'm sorry. We'll go back up to the first. So I took, because of all of the different sections, guys, I went ahead and took them all the square footages of the ones we looked at before, what we would call the low slope roofs. And I gave you budgets based on things that could be done for that type of roof. Now, this is what we call a restoration. It's weather screen. So what you would do in this case on a roof like that is you suck all the existing rock off it. You would make every single repair you could, and then you would coat it with an asphalted cold applied material, and you put new rock on. That's a 10-year warranty. It's relatively inexpensive compared to re-roofing or anything like that. So the budget for something like that for all of those roofs would be about $180,000 to $250,000. Okay. We competitively bid all this stuff out. Material-wise, it's not a ton of material, so we would make sure you got the best price by bidding it. There's 10 different ways you can procure this. We have cooperatives that we use. We actually use it with the utilities department. It's what we use with the school district, or we can do like a direct purchase where you purchase material directly at a discount and publicly bid out the labor. There's a number of different ways. Regardless, you get our involvement the entire time. Yes,
Does
sir.
that fix that slope?
We would have to address that in a different way, sir. So there's
So that's
materials
not
that
part
you
of
can
this?
use. Yes, sir. So we'd clean it up. I would probably have them cut that piece out and put new insulation in to slope it properly. There's other options that I could do too, but yes, I would have to address that. Even you don't want to keep bad slope in a roof because then you're just setting yourself up to
Right.
fail early. But when I give you a 10-year warranty, that's the thing
But is
about
that in
working with
that
Garmin.
price range?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, that is included in there.
Okay.
Yes, but just to clarify again, I did put a note here. This is all contingent on being able to get a clean scan. So we might be able to do this on 6 of 7 roofs or 5 of 7. So we just need to get the scan to confirm if these are legitimately options. Without the cores or any of that, I kind of had to give you guys, this is what it could be, and then kind of guide you into what the next steps would be if you want to explore that option. If you're going to fully replace a roof, you don't need a scan because you're replacing everything, right? So the next option is what we would call a single ply roof. These have gotten really popular in Florida. They're not Garland's favorite. Just be honest with you, because a single ply roof is just as it says, it's one ply, it's plastic. This one's a little bit higher. It's called KEE, but it's basically a plastic membrane that's about this thick, right? So we're in Florida, we got hurricanes and big storms. Blowing debris can put holes in these guys.
So it's not like a torch down. There's no
No,
base.
sir.
There's no base sheets.
No. So in a single ply, which we don't do a lot, but it's what if you just went to your average contractor and asked them for the lower cost roof, they're gonna give you this. I like to just go ahead and give you the budget, because if you're gonna ask, might as well put it in front of you. But I will tell you that it is not what I would do on a building that you're gonna be in long term. That's a 15 to 20-year warranty, depending on how it gets put down. But again, they're not unlimited warranties like all of our other ones, because in the environment we live in, I mean, people walking on those too much can cause issues. Okay, but I see them last 4, 5, 6, 7 years when done it properly as well. I mean, when we're in charge of this, guys, that's all on us. So you're gonna get your 15 years. I'm just telling you. I would tell someone that was going to, if you live in like a strip mall and you're renting out the location or something like that, this is a good option. Or if you only need 10 years on your roof, this is a good option. Or if your budget's just this tight, it's a good option. But if I'm being honest with you, if it's between this and the restoration, I do the restoration. I save a little bit of money, I get my 10 years, and I replace it after that. But I wanted you to see the cost difference because I'm going to take it a step up now after this, okay? So I'm just trying to be consultative here in the way that we talk about this, because at the end of the day, when I'm dealing with municipalities, school districts, different buildings mean different things to them. Work with a lot of hospitals, non-revenue generating areas, they'll put the single ply on. Everything else will go with a 40-year warranty. So I work with my partners to find out what's best. But I wanted you guys to see it. So you're looking at 310 to 365 for all those roofs. And maybe it comes in a little less, but I'm trying to be a little on the heavy side on the high end. I'm just being honest with you. Okay, so this is a modified bitumen roof. This particular one would be between 30 and 32 year, no dollar limit, edge to edge warranty. That means if there's any leak in this thing for 32 years if you use Omnia or 30 if you don't, Garland is responsible. So just so you know how that works, I get a 5-year warranty from the contractor. I wash the whole thing. I can never point fingers and say that's on the contractor. After that 5 years where I get free labor, anything happens at all, you call me and we take care of it. You always just call Garland, by the way. That's how we operate on this. And feel free to talk to the school district. We did building at Woodlawn last year, and they had a leak. It turned out it was a plumbing issue, but I had someone out there 2 hours. They were very impressed with that. So we are really big on our warranties. We're fully employee owned. So it literally is completely on us. So we try to do things right the first time, but there's no questions asked. We're very relationship driven. So we're talking quite a bit of jump up here. Not crazy, but 475 to 600,000. Again, that's all of the low slope roofs, and that's the out the door price that we're talking about. All new edge metal, all new insulation, multi-ply system, a reflective coating on top. And a 30-year, $1 limit. And there's actually 40-year options as well, guys. They obviously jump up quite a bit, but I just did one, just bid one out for the Naples airport. They were into that, so they wanted to see the difference. I think it cost them an extra $75,000 in material and the same amount of labor because the labor doesn't change. Just so you know, so that can be done. And again, we don't charge for the. Not again. I just want to clarify that we don't charge for warranties like a lot of commodity grade manufacturers do. Meaning, they can give you the same roof for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or 30. You're just going to charge more because they know how long it's supposed to last, and then they bank that money so they can pay for it. With us, the sheets are much stronger. That's why it costs more, not because I'm charging you for a warranty. We never charge for warranties. I just wanted to be clear. So we had a 10-year option, a 15-year option, and this is a 30-year option. And then I think we went on to, after that, we did, we have concrete roofs. These are just outside, they're like your walkways. So they're more like plaza decks. They're just concrete decks. This one right here is really good, but if you go to the next couple, Scott, a lot of ponding, and my biggest thing is it's growing vegetation. If you can see on this one, I know it's hard to see y'all, but here's the forest right here. So it starts to grow through the cracks in the concrete and causes structural problems, and it also leaks through it. Now, Garland, like I was telling you, we're not just roofing. We do wall coatings, we do plaza decks, all of this. So what I think we do is we either put a single ply roof on this, the cheaper one, because like this is concrete, or we coat it with a membrane coating that'll get you, a concrete coating that'll get you 10 or 15 years. So Scott, if you go down a little more, I'll show them the budgets there. Oh, and here's the closer up of, this is the flashing right here, so it's going right through, so right where the door is, it's leaking right there, which you're obviously going to notice because it's one of your entry points. If we needed to do some quick service for you guys to get by, we certainly could. But it's going to be a problem if you don't do something with it eventually. So we'll go just a little bit further and I'll get you the cost here. And the back one is well vented. You don't need to stop. Okay, there we go. So this is the first option. It's called DuraWalk. We do this at parking garages a lot. You can do it for rated for vehicles or pedestrian. You're looking at probably 17,000 to 21,000 to do all of those roofs. That's the drive-through roof and all of the ones on the site. Okay. And then there's one other option, which is called Liquitech, which we typically use to restore roofs, but it's great for direct concrete. It is more, but it's an extra 5-year warranty. It's 25 to 30K. So at Scott's request, which I thought was a great idea, towards the end of this, I did something I normally don't do, and I kind of just broke this all down because I know there's a lot of numbers being thrown at you. So I wanted to kind of give you. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the walls. Sorry, that's my bad. So the walls, guys, overall pretty good. Sir, you asked me a little bit about the leak, so you're going to see a couple here. Not here. There we go. Just a little more up. So a couple things I saw. Again, vegetation growing through your wall joints. So that's getting into the wall. Water can get in now that it's penetrated. A lot of discoloration and staining on the walls just from time. Here's one of the leaks. This is a light in the back, and I know it's hard to see here, but the next picture up is the interior leak. I'm sorry, down. Right here. So you can see that's a pretty big leak. Someone just didn't seal that penetration correctly. But it is causing issue here. You see there's damage to the wall and the paint is peeling. And then this is up in your stairwell under that ponding roof that I said was really bad. Some of this is the wall though, because you can see it's not starting at the roof. So it's coming in through a wall joint. So, I know you can't really see it here, but there's staining and mildew all over the vent breathers. And that's an easy fix, guys. You power wash that. But what we had said to do, or wanted to give you an option to do, is repair all of the walls, redo every single joint, and then recaulk all of the windows, the wet seal and the frame to wall, and then coat the entire thing with a architectural cool wall coating, so it allows moisture to get out but not get in. We actually just did one similar with Hardy County Schools at their old junior high. It's their administration building. Different material, so it's slightly different. But basically, if you throw water at it now, or if it rains, it beads up and runs out instead of soaking the wall. They were having a lot of issues there. So we did that, and we resealed all their windows. The cost here, can you move it up just a bit? There we go. To do the whole building would be $230,000 to $300,000. I did give you guys an alternate to just use like a standard paint that's not mine, which would be fine. We'd still repair the walls and use like a Sherman-Williams. And if we go down a little bit, I want to say you saved, it'd be about 195 to 65. The material doesn't change too much. The labor is the exact same. So what I was talking about, and if you're interested too, guys, I did scopes of work on all these. They're real basic. When we actually do these, and I can walk through it at some point or send you examples. When I say bid package, I'm talking scopes of work, drawings, details, everything, so that the contractor knows exactly what we need and what we expect and what we lock them into. So that there's no questions when I say, hey, I need you to redo that, right? That's why I watch all of these jobs about 3 times a week. So right now I'm doing a project at Avon Park and one at Sebring High School, Avon Park High School. I'm there 3+ times every week. Doing photo reports, talking to everyone, and then sending it to the school district so they see that I'm doing everything that I said. Now here's where I go through it. The roofing budgets, low slope, that's your main roofs. I went through every option, told you what it was, told you what the warranty is, and told you what the budget is. So you could either do the weather screen, the Solar Bright, which is the single ply, or the modified, and it gives you those budgets. Now remember, there is an in-between. We would have to scan these to see what we can. The one thing I will say, guys, unless it's a budgetary thing, is typically you don't want to restore one and replace one. Most of our partners want to do everything so they're on the same timeline. But if it's a budgetary thing, and hey, let's replace 3 and let's just do maintenance here, that gets done all the time. But I don't typically see let's restore 2 and replace 3. It's either let's replace 3 and do maintenance, or let's restore these 3 and do maintenance. That puts them closer to the same timeline. So here, and then we went to the concrete budgets for that, which would be added to the roof budget if you wanted to address it. And then lastly, the wall and window buckets. So those would, you'd have to add those up, whichever one you pick to get kind of an idea of what you're looking at. But I can get you the scan cost for the roofs by early to mid next week, and I can send it to Scott. I'll request it later tonight when I get home. But yeah, are there any questions? And then I'll have you look at a couple little things that I have.
So, I got a question on the sealant for the windows.
Sir.
Did you observe a lot of leaking at those windows, or is it just based on the age of the sealants, or what?
It's based on the age of the sealants. There were a couple windows where there was some leakage, but those sealants, especially more commodity grade ones, typical lifespan of the, and when I say the sealant, I mean the frame to the wall, is like 5 to 7 years. So typically, due to age, you want to replace those. If we found that they were all good on when we get to see every single window and you wanted to leave it, you certainly could. To be honest, it's a smaller part of that project. A lot of it's all of the wall joints that you're replacing. So maybe you save $15,000 or something like that.
50 or
15,
1,
15,
okay.
20, something like that. And again, this is all bid out competitively, so you'll see exactly, hey, here's the labor and here's the material, and because you're buying the material direct.
The contractors that you get, are they certified through Garland?
Yes.
It's just a pool of Garland certified
Yes.
contractors.
So there's a few ways to do this. The way we do it most often with public entities is what we call Omnia. I can send you guys information, but it was a nationally bid cooperative agreement that Garland won for roofing and waterproofing services and materials. So it means that Garland already has the low bid, and any public entity in the state can use this. What it allows us to do is invite 3 to 5 local approved contractors. And if you have ones that you like, we can certainly invite them. And when I say local guys, they may come out of Fort Myers or Tampa just because of where we are. They're probably coming from in the general, let's say 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And then they competitively bid out the labor, right? Because you are getting the material directly at a discount from us that avoids the contractor markup, which is nice because that can be pretty big sometimes depending on what it is. And then you see exactly what their labor is. And so that's how they're bidding. And they provide little things that we might not provide, can't strip or a fastener or something like that. But then we warranty the entire system and their labor. And there's a sheet in there called chain of liability. Scott, did you see that one? It was I sent you just so I want to kind of explain the difference between us.
Are you talking about the one that you sent me after? Or
Yes, sir.
in this
After.
attachment?
It was sent afterwards. Sorry about that.
No.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
But yeah, so
So-
if you have contractors that you really like, we're always happy to invite them. It was like a graph. If you can't find it, it's not. I'm just talking about it. But yeah, so that's how we do it. Typically on a bigger project like this, I'm probably inviting 5 just to make sure we get the best amount we can for you. And then Omnia establishes based on the location, kind of things like job specific issues like how tall are the buildings, how hard is access, that sort of thing. It establishes a maximum rate that can be charged, and we're trying to get under that rate. So to give you an example, Avon Park, that's a big roof that we're doing over there. I think it came in at $2.23 million or something like that. The MICBA on that, which is the max allowable cost under Omnia, was like $3.1 million. So it got considerably under. Every bid I had was under it. So we're trying to beat that number. And what I was having to look for, and I can explain it, it's just, again, talking about the difference between working directly with the manufacturer and doing the commodity approach. So with the commodity approach, you're either developing your own bid documents, or you're using general ones, or you're having the contractor do it, or you're paying a consultant. Regardless, you're not working directly with the manufacturer, and they're the ones holding that long-term warranty. So what can happen is, if the contractor installs the wrong product or misses a detail or something like that, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad contractor. These things can easily happen, small mistakes. At some point, you call the manufacturer after the contractor's warranty and say, hey, can you come look at this? And they'll come out. But if they say, hey, this was installed incorrectly, they have no cause to help you out at all at that point because it was installed incorrectly. With us, I'm working from you from the beginning and I'm there the entire time. So at no point can I waive that liability. I know that Hardy County, I started working with them about 2.5 years ago or so. They had that problem a lot where a contractor came out, did a restoration coating, did it completely wrong, and then the manufacturer came out 3 years later and said you don't have a warranty. So they kind of got left holding the bag, and that's why they started working with me on everything, and we just redid their jail last year. But again, it's just because the accountability and for our ability to put 100% of liability on Garland, who's providing you your 10, 15, 20, 30, 40-year warranty. So, and I live in Fort Myers, so you guys know, but like I said, I'm here 3 times plus a week. About to start a project with South Florida State College, work with the school district a lot. Mostly do maintenance for Bob and Kim over there at the utilities department. A lot of work I've done myself just to help them with their budget. So we really want to build a relationship like that. If there's things we can do, these nice assessment, perfect. Thank you very much, Scott. This is exactly what I was talking about. So over here on the right, this is us meeting as I did with Scott, who allowed me the opportunity and took his time to go see that building with me. I did that report for you guys at no cost just to try and kind of give you your solution options and kind of where you stand. And overall, I think you're in pretty good shape, to be honest with you. But so we're inspecting the roof, so we're the building envelope. We're helping you with management plans. I can help you with capital plans if you want. If you don't have the money this year, I can show you what it costs probably next year, the year after 5, 10, 15 years, I can do that. Then we help you with the bid documents, the pre-construction meetings, pre-bids, pre-construction meetings, and project management. We do the punch list, and then we do walks every single year at no cost to make sure everything looks good. If there's ever a problem, you just call me. No finger pointing. It's 100% on us. So a lot of our partners, that's why they work with us. We're going to have direct manufacturer involvement, single source liability. We make sure that everyone that's bidding is bidding the exact same thing. So it's apples to apples. So you're not sure what can happen. Sometimes you get 4 different quotes. They're actually quoting 4 different things. And you're wondering, why is this guy so much more? But if you're really dug into it, it might be because he's offering you a better product and you weren't sure. So here we establish the product ahead of time so you know exactly what you're getting and everyone follows the exact same rules. And then manufacturer involvement, that's honestly the biggest thing, guys. Because it's not like the other manufacturers don't have good products, they do. It's about how you install it. Now, we do have the more high performance products, and that's typically what we're known for. Work with federal government, DEA, we do all of those buildings, and they want to last a very long time. Now, this is the other option. It says consultant, it could be either, but if you were to hire a consultant, it's someone that's like a spec writer or something like that. They're writing it up for someone else's roof. They don't actually have the same liability that we have. So you're working with them. They're sending it out to the contractors. The contractors are getting their materials from the roof supply company. The manufacturer's down here. There's almost no liability in this because, like I said, if there's any kind of problem and it wasn't put in perfectly, or you use the wrong cover board or something little, then they can say, sorry, this is done wrong. And they have all reason to at that point because their material wasn't installed how it was supposed to be. So in that situation, you have the highest risk of premature failure and improper application typically, and lower standards, which just means that typically it's a race to the bottom. When you just put out a spec, they're going to go with the lowest possible standard, so it's the lowest cost and they can get the job. Here we set the standard ahead of time with you guys. Doesn't mean it has to be the highest standard. We can go lower as well based on your budget, but at least you know that everybody's on the same even playing field. Thank you very much, Scott. Is there any other questions for me? I know that was a lot.
Yeah, Grant, so 10 years from now, if we just did the restore right now, what do you think the cost would be 10 years from now to do the replacement?
Okay, good question. So typically on the whole project, so like if it was, let's just say it's $250,000, you're typically looking at an increase of anywhere between 5 and 10% every year. So on some restorations, this is not one because of the type of roof. You can just recoat it and get another 10 years, which is the kind of best case scenario. And there's plenty of roofs we could do that with, I'm sure, within the city, but not here because of the rock being on top. You can kind of do that once. That's all they're going to allow by code. But 5 to 10% a year. So the city of Fort Myers, who I was working with, yes, it's incredible. The city of Fort Myers, who I've been working with, we did a report for them in 2019, and then they asked me to come back out for the same building that they've done nothing to, but now have decided to keep. It's their Skadium. I know it's a great name, but it's their ice rink, and they're now going to improve it. So they're going to add another ice rink. That requires them to do a bunch of work. The roof cost has doubled in that time. Absolutely just doubled. It's 48%. It's close enough. They were an average of 7.5%, 8% a year on average that it's going up. Most of that is the labor portion. Right now we're seeing a flux between 15 and 18% a year, just on a nationwide basis in roofing labor. A lot of that's because a lot of the skilled tradesmen are kind of retiring, and we're losing a lot of those people. So the cost is going up. It's harder to keep guys. And then material can go up, 2 to 5% a year. So yeah, 5 to 10% is what I do. If I was going to do a capital plan for you, I'm basically adding 5 to 10%, and I'm explaining the why. Now it could certainly be less, but to prepare yourself, 7% minimum is what I would add.
Okay. Now, a lot of these you said were fair condition, except the one that was failing.
Mhm.
If we did nothing, how long do you think we would be until
If
we're
you
at
did
poor?
absolutely nothing, I think you'd start getting some leaks on a few of them, but you could chase leaks, right? My estimation of there's some that are worse than others, right? I think if you do nothing, you could probably get a 2 years, a couple years. Now you are going to chase some leaks.
Mhm.
What I would say as an in-between measure, if you're going to do that, and what I would do if you want to check this out, is actually bring a contractor that I trust out just to give me a base number, because it's hard for me to just say, oh, maintenance costs this. But I would say do like a more comprehensive maintenance kind of deal where you're spending maybe 50 or 60 grand, but I can get them to give you some kind of labor warranty, and at least then everything is addressed. Where it's like, okay, we got blisters here, they're being cut, and I would write down how to properly fix them, make sure redo all the caulking, fill in areas where you're missing that rock, because when you lose that rock, it's just a black surface, and the sun beats that, and it starts to become what we call bare felt, where you can see the scrim through it and actually sucks water into it. So we fix all those little things. I would guess, and I'm throwing a number out, but I'd say for around 50 or 60K, you could do pretty solid maintenance on all of them, right? I would say to do something a little more major to that tiny roof. But there is in between options, just like the mayor was saying, we could do something. But we could put that together if you want that as an option. I kind of just thought about that while I was coming to the meeting, that I probably should have put that on there. But I kind of do need to bring a contractor out to see that. But yeah, I think you could probably buy yourself 3-4 years with that if a big storm happens or something, of course that's shot, right? But I think overall you have pretty solid bones on most of these roofs, just being honest with you. Besides that one and the couple others that I said had the big ponding or whatnot. So
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. But I do want to reiterate that we'll help you however you want to be helped. That is certainly an option. The one thing I wouldn't do is what we call chasing leaks. So you call somebody every time, because if you just call a contractor anymore, to get 2 guys out for a day before they use materials, like $2,400. If you do that, a bunch of times over a couple of years, you're paying an unnecessary amount. Where if you bid it out and they have more work to do while they're there, you'll get a better rate. And that's all the labor piece. That's not coming from me. You'll need minimal materials for that, but I'm happy to help you with it, just to kind of push it along, depending on where your budgets are at. The walls, just to give you my little 2 cents on that, you could fix the couple areas. We just have to recaulk that stuff and maybe do a couple repairs. That could probably get you by, because overall, they're in pretty good shape, right? And I say that in the report. If you get your hands on the report, read through it, you'll see. as far as a report, I could do a core for you guys. I obviously fix all of it, but it will let me kind of dial in the budgets a little more because I need to know exactly what's in there. We did deduce that it's concrete, which is great, but it can kind of let me know, is it wet, that sort of thing. But yeah, there's other options. This is just kind of an overview of your larger options. The repair material can kind of be used on a basis to fix a lot of those areas, and it's pretty cost effective. The restoration material, that asphaltic material, could fix anything in the field. We could redo flashings and caulking.
So really, the next step is to get that nuclear scan.
I would say so, sir. I can have Scott Price early next. I'll call. I won't call them tonight because they're probably not, but I will call them tomorrow, and I'll give them the Eagle view I took. Just let them know how many sections it is and square footage. Typically, they're pretty quick about it. Again, I think you're probably looking between 3 and 5 on the highest inside, but I would expect more in the mid 3s, low 4s.
Would you expect those small roofs with a lot of ponding to be able to be restored just by? I know you can't know that, but
I can't know. You never know, is the honest truth, because it could be really well sealed, meaning that yes, it's affected by
surface water.
ponding, but it's just sitting there. I've seen that happen where we thought for sure this is not going to be restorable, and it's scant dry. The only thing that a restoration doesn't fix is improper slope, but we have ways to fix that. I just have to make sure that it's addressed. The first thing, just so you guys know, whenever you're dealing with roofing, the first thing that people will value engineer out is slope, and it is the last thing that you want to take out. Always pay more to have it properly sloped. The minimum slope you're supposed to have in Florida is 1/4 of an inch. It means every foot that it's going up 1/4. If they have nothing, you will always have that. And now, because it's probably been sitting like that for 5+ years, maybe more, it's just getting worse. But that does not mean that it's wet insulation. Insulation is what we're looking for. But yes, we would need to address that one either way. And to be honest, it might, if you're doing the rest of them, they might be able to replace that one for close to the cost of restoring it if you're doing other stuff. So we might just totally replace that if it was better for the city. Because you need so little material for it. If the guys are already out here doing a bigger project, it's probably not that much different. So, but it's all about mobilization. If they have to get a crane out here and they just do that 300 square foot roof, they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg for it because they got to put all that money in those little bit of square foot. Where if they do the whole thing, they only need the crane once. Same thing for the little roof. So that's how you kind of navigate that stuff. You do more while you have them if you can. So I'll get you the proposal from them. Send it your way. If there's anything else you guys need, also if there's ever any other buildings you want looked at, these reports do not cost anything. We use them as a relationship builder and to kind of try and help set things up. Just because you don't need anything done now doesn't mean you don't need to plan for the future. I think it took me 3+ years to start working with the school district. That's how it started, just doing these reports. If you want that, it's not using me. I'm over here all the time. Just let you know. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
you don't need any sort of a motion or anything.
Make a determination at some point. But
Yeah, I think I agree. I'd like to see the results of those core samples and see what we can do.
I agree.
All right, moving on to item 13A, project report.
So, I have added the foreclosure on liens process. Staff's working on some information that's provided by other cities and counties, specifically firms that actually provide this type of service. Apparently, it's done, by the hour. It seems to also be done by the lien or the project, if you will. So, once we have that information, we can bring something back to you.
All right, moving on. Last but not least, Clerk Haley.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Thanks.